Hey guys, in this video, I wanted to quickly give you guys a review of the current state of Fusion 360 and kind of my thoughts on it as I'm bringing back up the channel. If you guys don't know, I've been teaching on Udemy professionally for a couple years now. I think almost 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I think I started January 2020. Yeah, January 2020, and it's almost January 2023. It's November 24th, 2022. So I wanted to quickly talk about Fusion versus some of these other softwares, just to give you guys a reason why I picked Fusion to not only teach but do it for my small business as well as my other at-home design ventures and other contract work, etc. And so I'm going to go over some of the different programs that I've used and also kind of why I like it more than other programs. And then I haven't done all of them. I'll talk about the ones that I have worked with and also the ones that I do in the daily basis, which is in semiconductor, we use NX, which is the same thing as like Boeing and all these big companies use NX. I think also Apple might use it. I can't remember. Anyways, maybe even Tesla as well. Anyways, so I've used in my CAD career, I've used NX, Siemens NX. I've used Fusion 360, which I've been using now for 8 or 9 years, and I could talk also about the evolution there. And then also I've used SolidWorks. I took a class in SolidWorks, and Inventor, right? And then some of the other small ones, 123D Design, and other types of things like that. Dassault Systems version of Fusion, which is like an online-based one. I can't remember. Dassault Systems, the same guys that made SolidWorks. They have an online version. I think it was like Onshape or something. Anyways, I used to teach that in libraries. Anyways, so I've used all those kinds of ones. Now, why would I suggest using Fusion over all of those other ones, even though I'm, I guess, forced, quote unquote, on the day-to-day basis to use NX? And then also I could talk about the advantages between those two. Those are the most familiar I am with. And then Inventor would probably be a third. So Fusion, NX, and Inventor. So the reason why I like Fusion is that it is a all-in-one package. So all of these other ones are as well all-in-one package. Some of them might be more upgraded or like more integrated than Fusion is. Fusion is very, very well integrated, but something like Siemens NX, you have massive number of packages that you can purchase and add on. But that's another thing about Fusion for these small businesses and things like that. It's a great platform because everything is included. Everything is all in one. So right now I'm paying the $70 a month for, right now it's 70. Sometimes there's sales and things like that. But $70 a month for the Fusion package. And that allows me to run simulations, some of the static simulations. They just made a change that you can no longer run thermal stress and pretty much anything else except for static stress on your you can no longer run any simulation on your local computer. They used to have the Nastran solver. Nastran solver is the solver that Autodesk designed for Inventor and Fusion. And they no longer wanted to develop probably two platforms, one for the desktop, for your personal desktop, and one for the server. So another one that's pretty cool is that you can offload the simulation to the server. So if you're running a low-end laptop, no problem, you could upload it to the server. But you used to have the option. Now you do not have the option. Now you can only send things to the server, so you cannot run any simulations locally if you do not have a network. And then also all the other ones are paid. The cheapest one is $9 a piece, which is thermal, and then you have 9 and then like 18 or something, and then so on and so on, all the way up to like maybe 20, maybe like $29 a simulation. So simulation is included. Obviously the assembly setup is included. You have surfaces, meshes, so messing with STLs, messing with OBJs, whatever. And then you have a rendering workspace and the cam workspace, all included in one platform with just this tab, as well as a drawing, right? Oh, and then animation, right? So rendering and animation. Now generative design is in its own tab. So all of this is integrated very seamlessly in one package. Very, very easy to jump back and forth in this one package. So Siemens and stuff like that, they'll have NX, and Inventor, I think, also has this kind of integration. But in Siemens and SolidWorks and things like that, you have to buy all these extra packages. These are included. And for simulation, you can, if you do a lot of simulation, you can buy a yearly like a subscription that'll allow you to do infinite number of simulations, or you cannot do that and pay per simulation. So still, you pay for what you use, and then you can still have it and still use it to a point. You never have to be like, oh man, I need to do a simulation, but in order to do a simulation, I got to put $3,000 down in cash to buy that seat for that application. You don't have to do that here. It's like, okay, I want to do a thermal simulation, boom, $9, do it right now, and then get it done, move on, right? And then put it to a cloud, have the cloud figure it out, work overnight, whatever, right? So that's where I think Fusion shines, is that it's an all-in-one system. The next thing is the cloud-based. So because it has this integration right here on the side, right, very, very powerful. So these other programs such as Dassault Systems might have something similar. Inventor had Vault. I'm not exactly sure what they're using now, but I'm sure that they each have like a pseudo built-in system. Now, I think Fusion is probably the one that's did it the best for the longest, so they have the most experience with it. Siemens NX uses a thing called Team Center, which is basically a whole nother application. So you have to go through a whole nother application to load the programs in here. Now, of course, it allows you to have way more, thousands and thousands and thousands of parts, and that's why it's used on these big companies such as Boeing and things like that. But in Fusion, for small businesses and things like that, where you need these small parts that are segmented, it's very, very easy to use to go through this cloud setup here. Open it, close it. You want full window, no problem. And then it just pops up here on this side. While in Team Center, it uses the Eclipse platform, old school Eclipse platform. And so it's got like multiple windows and all these kinds of others. It's got more tools per se, but here this is way simpler for small businesses to open and close, right? So cloud integrated, they were kind of the first ones to do like a seamless integration. I think it was pretty seamless. And even now it's pretty seamless for small to medium assemblies, right? Next thing, the actual design and things like that. So another thing that I like is it's very simple as far as it gets rid of a lot of fluff. So if you see the interface here on my screen, you'll notice that there's way less buttons shown than on something like NX, Siemens NX, or not Team Center, but Inventor, or SolidWorks, or any other program that you've come from, right? And it's because they got rid of a lot of fluff. They're starting to add a little bit more stuff. More and more stuff is starting to come in here to kind of increase the size. It had a lot less stuff a couple years ago, but now it's starting to be fleshed more out. But you'll notice that it has very, very minimal on the tooling. And reason being is that it's very contextual, right? So when you create sketches and things like that, you'll add a sketch so it'll hide it. And I think that this has the majority of the part of the tools that you'll need to do pretty much anything that you'll ever do. 99.99% of everything that you want to do, you can find it here, right? So that's also why I love it, is that it's very streamlined on how the interface works. I'm not really a hotkey person, so I like to just kind of lean back in my chair and type, and then click away on my keyboard, click away on my mouse, and then enter in some numbers for dimensions, and then hit the enter key, right? So I like to just kind of slouch over in my chair and design that way, right? Instead of like I'm typing an essay. I like to just hang out, lean back, and do some design work. And so this is great for people like that want to click through and that don't have massive numbers of buttons that they have to figure out where to press. And because there are less and less of them, it's very, very easy to find them if you're a clicker, right? And you could see here that there's only some of them that have the hotkeys, which are these guys. Right. And so for that, it's very, very streamlined. Also, it runs very, very well. Very, very well on low-end platforms. This guy is not a no low-end platform. I think this has got an i5 9600K and then a RTX 3070, right? So this is no slouch of a desktop, but it's run about the same as it ran before I upgraded to this one, which I think was a 7 series 7700K i5, and then I had a 1064 for that and ran perfectly fine. It's not very much change. Now, once you go below like 1 gig of VRAM, things start to get a little funky, but other than that, everything runs great, right? The next thing is also a whole bunch of add-ins. So, for example, here I have a screw add-in. I could also insert things from you can do insert McMaster components and all kinds of other cool things. And there's scripts. They released APK. They give you the documentation. Fusion/Autodesk gives you the documentation you need to do some scripts and add-ins. So I have some in here, for example, making bolts, making spur gears, pipes, etc. And then all kinds of different add-ins that you can. So like another one is geometry. So I can go in here and have it instantly quoted on geometry. So, and companies will develop their own plugins for this guy, which is pretty sweet. And there is a place that you can go to either buy them or install them. Most of them are free. Next is install size, very, 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 very small install size. And then the other thing is the updates. Now, compared to all these other platforms, which are usually yearly updates, right? For example, Inventor, NX, and SolidWorks, I believe, are all annual updates. Single, once a year annual updates, unless there's a huge bug, and then they'll fix the bug. This guy, Fusion, gets about 1 to 2 updates per month. So that could be a good or a bad thing. If you don't want to evolve with a platform, not like you can't really do that anymore anyways. You can't really, it's really, really hard to buy a program outright now. Now, normally you buy a program and then you pay for the quote unquote maintenance fees. Fusion doesn't have that. It just has a subscription. There's no weird, upfront payment and then, do the maintenance fees. So most programs now are subscription based, which Fusion is subscription based, but there's no maintenance fee. So it's continuously updated, like I said, 1 to 2 times per month. So if you do not want to evolve with the program and you want to be like some of these other programs where you have once an update yearly on average, then that might be something more for you. So because with those updates comes issues sometimes. So especially in the manufacturing, because they're always adding stuff in the CAM system. Things in the design system might change. One day you log on, it's something different. The next day it's different, right? Because it will just force update. And at a point, it will require you to update. So it won't actually launch unless you've updated, right? So that's something that you also have to keep in mind, is that you basically have to evolve with the CAD system, and you have to constantly be evolving as far as learning the system and learning any of these new updates that comes along, whether it's graphical updates or things like that. So, for example, we have this guy that just came, that just was updated. This wasn't there before, but this is more for small businesses and things like that. Right now I'm on my individual account. I can go to my other account, which is my small business account, and then it has all the drawings in here. I think they're trying to copy something like NX, where it has kind of layout of NX, and then you can open it and then go into the design view. And so that's this little house view. This update is maybe a week or 2 weeks old. So things like this are always changing. In my personal opinion, I think that it's way better because you have a constantly evolving platform, and I feel like they're not doing changes just to do changes. I feel like they're trying to dial in. So there are a lot of companies that just do changes to do changes. I mean, the common thing that people talk about for video games is like Madden. They'll take a feature out and then 5 years later they'll add it back in to feel like they're constantly evolving that. This is not the case. They're constantly changing things to get it to dial in. Now, some things are not so great, which, like I said, the simulation I wasn't too crazy about. Again, on the desktop, I got a lot of errors on the simulation. So being able to have a perfect online simulation system, a solver, might be a better benefit than having one on the local desktop. And then saving, a couple bucks for a good simulation. Anyways, so I think to have a super up-to-date, like cutting edge, always be on the cutting edge is pretty exciting. And there's not a whole lot of systems like Fusion out there that are like that. So, and then as far as everything else, it's very, very similar to a lot of these other CAD systems. I think it's a lot simpler and a lot easier to learn, especially compared to some of these big platforms, SolidWorks, NX, Inventor, etc. Coming from a smaller platform like SketchUp or something like that, this is going to be way easier than those bigger platforms. So that also, I believe. Overall, I think looking back, I definitely do not regret putting all my chips into Fusion. Of course, they're tightening down on the earning potential of the platform in recent years. When I started, they just wanted people to adopt the platform. And then now they're starting to milk the platform for revenue. So there are things that they are tightening on that try to milk you for revenue. That stuff I'm not crazy about. But the platform itself is constantly evolving and improving. And it's way better than it was 5 to 6 years ago, right? Or even a year ago, or even 2 years ago, or even 6 months ago, right? Just so many things. And it all depends on what part of the program you're on most of the time. Because, for example, let's say most of the changes are on the PCB design, because it also has a PCB design electrical suite built in, similar to Eagle, because Autodesk bought Eagle. And then I think they're trying to integrate that into Fusion to make Fusion kind of a all one-stop shop, general small business CAD platform, where the big businesses would use something like Inventor from Autodesk. Anyways, so they're trying to basically have everything in here, and all of their acquisitions of these different companies, such as Eagle and stuff like that, bring into Fusion at some point of it. Maybe not all the features, but most of the features you want. So they're trying to build this kind of jack of all general trade platform where most modeling, like I said, 99% or 90% or whatever they're shooting for, maybe 99%, 99% of the things that you would want to do, you can do in Fusion. And that's why I think that for most people that want to run a small business or maybe a small machine shop or a single person shop that's doing just design work for contract work or whatever, Fusion, I think, is definitely the go-to for very, very large companies with thousands of employees. Probably not the best. Maybe even with 100 employees, it makes it more difficult to use. Even though I think it has more collaborative tools than most programs do, but just the weight of that development is harder to accomplish with Fusion 360. All right, so I just wanted to do this quick talk about Fusion 360 and why I chose to jump on board a couple years back. If you guys don't know, I teach on Udemy, introductory, beginning Fusion 360, as well as intermediate Fusion 360. The links of that will be in the description. If you guys want to see some other videos, some other courses from me, I teach things like 3D printing, programming, all those different types of topics. Go ahead and check out my channel. That's always changing. This next year, 2023, I'm going to be going all in on my classes, developing way more classes in different subjects. So go ahead and check that out in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.